everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're back with another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today I have with us, she's an author, and she has a new book out right now, and it's called Red Walls. I have with us Christina Bergling. Christina, welcome to the Horror Room.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you on. So tell us a little bit about Red Walls.
Well, Red Walls is my fifth book, sixth if you count one that I co wrote with Kevin Kennedy. And it is kind of a mix of a haunted house sort of monster story. And it's mostly about family trauma and the bad decisions it causes you to make.
Oh, I like that. Now, so this is book number fifth, number five, number six. Now,
Hmm.
I like that you ran a story about family trauma because trauma, I feel like as a youth, does kind of determine who you are, but if you allow it to, who you will be as an adult. And you can make some bad decisions.
Yeah, I agree. In the book, the family goes through a tragedy and it causes the daughter to act out, and something bad happens, and her parents respond to it and they want to go retaliate and get vengeance, but they don't expect the people they're going to confront to be actual monsters instead of just, the figurative kind.
Now, did you use any real life experiences or personal experiences when writing this book?
I definitely drew from my ill conceived party time when I was younger for some of her acting out. But other than that, I made the family an interracial family because that's the family I have. So some of that definitely comes out in it as well.
Now, when it comes to trauma, it seems like male and men and women handle it completely differently. It seems like when it comes to men, they act out in violence, or and women, it's more that party scene. It's more of that promiscuity. Why do you think both sexes seem to handle trauma differently?
I think it's kind of what is socially acceptable to do. Like, if a woman starts partying, everyone's like, I'm here for it. And if a guy gets violent, they're like, well, you're just a guy. But in Red Walls, I kind of flipped it with the parents, where the father is very much anti, let's not go be super violent, and the mom is all in.
No. Now, by this being your fifth book, do you feel as an author that you have grew with each one, each book you have written? And what are some things from book number five to book number four to book number five that you were like, you know what, I liked how that flowed. I want to carry that over. And what's some things that you were like, ugh, I'm not gonna make that same mistake with Red Walls.
Yeah, I think, I mean, all of my books are different. They kind of all live in different subgenres of horror, but I definitely learn from the process. I mean, you learn about publishing and marketing each time, but just from a writing standpoint, I've definitely gotten better at getting to the point. I think in Followers, which is my fourth book, there was a lot more, lead up and backstory, whereas with Red Walls, it's blood on the first page. Let's just go.
Now you talk about marketing. That is probably one of the toughest things that a lot of indie writers, period, are running into. Like, how do you get your work out there? How do you get it seen? And it takes a lot of boots on the ground. It takes a lot of self marketing.
Yeah. And it's a challenge, especially when all you want to do is write. You don't want to like post about writing, but it's changed a lot between book one and book five. Like, book one came out over 10 years ago. The internet landscape was very different. Social media was a lot less algorithms and a lot less ads. So I think there was a lot more in personal connection back then, but with less people. And now it's just flooded. The market's absolutely saturated, and there's so many pay for exposure options. So whereas you could put in the legwork before and you would get out there, now you kind of have to put your wallet out there to get more views and more exposure. So it's different. It's a bit frustrating.
I can imagine. I mean, even as a YouTube creator, like it's hard. It's hard. Like I have to go to a lot of horror conventions. I have to get in front of a lot of people. And before, I can be. I've only been doing this for almost 2 years. but I've heard other YouTube creators, back then all you had to do was put on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the views came, the followers came, and now you definitely have to pay to get a lot of those viewers and subscribers.
Yeah, it's kind of the inverse. Like before, you get a little bit of exposure in person, but you could go online and see all of these people. And now, because everything is so filtered to be ad driven and paid driven, you get very little exposure online and you're having to go out in person to actually get access to people. So it's strange how it's alternating.
And you're talking about the market being saturated right now with indie horror, whether it be filmmaking or even and in writing format. Which is a good thing. There's so many indie horror writers out there, and a lot of them are self-publishing. There's a lot of small presses, but how do you stand out? I mean, how do you stand out? By the way, there's the other thing too, where there's a lot of indie horror writers who are doing the AI shit, which that's a whole nother topic. But but it's so hard because I'm a reader. I love indie horror books, but like there's only so much time in the day to read everything.
Yeah, there's so much out there. And I think the main goal is finding your audience because everyone writes a different perspective. Everyone's writing a different flavor. So the challenge is in the mass of everything, finding the people who actually want to read what you have to say. So that's what I think everyone's chasing. As far as standing out, I don't know that I have a strategy. I just put it out there as me and hope for the best.
Now, have you noticed since your first book that you almost have like a little bit of a fan base, and you have fans that will and readers that will follow you in every book that you read or that you write?
Yes, it is so exciting when it grows past like your parents and your friends, and you're like, oh, it's a stranger. I go to a lot of horror conventions and film festivals and stuff like that. And like the most exciting stuff is when I get recognized by someone I don't know, and I'm like, oh my God, it actually works.
And it's amazing. I mean, it's an amazing thing to do. To when you, like I said, you get that point, like you said, to get past that point where now it's complete strangers who are loving the work. That's when you know that okay, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, I years ago I went to the Stanley Film Festival up in Estes Park, at the hotel where they based The Shining. And I'm standing in line and my phone's going off. And this is back when Twitter was a thing and it wasn't horrible. And they're like, I'm standing in line behind Christina Bergling. And I'm just looking around and there's someone, someone who's tweeting about it. And it was probably one of the more fun experiences as an author to be like, oh, I have a fan in person who can recognize me in a crowd.
Now, do you pay attention to what your fans have to say? Like when they write reviews and they on social media, do you pay attention even to some of the negative comments?
So the wisdom is to not read your reviews, and I can't help it. I definitely read my reviews. Um, the positive ones are great. Like they're like crack. They're amazing. But the negative ones are rough because it's your art. It's your heart out there getting kicked. But I have found that some of the more brutal reviews have helped me. Like I've been able to take the criticism and do something with it after I got over the pain.
It's definitely tough. I remember when I first started my channel that I would get your mic quality sounds like shit. This and that. And I was like, really? But like, but sometimes it's the delivery. But like, I was like, okay, well, I've heard that a couple of times, and I was like, well, maybe I gotta fix this. Maybe I. But so constructive criticism is helpful. But
Mm-hmm.
but you also have to deal with the assholes who say you suck, and that doesn't help you at all.
Yeah. It's being able to mentally filter between like trolling and an actual useful comment. Like,
Yes.
this book sucks. I wish I didn't read it. Not helpful. But if it's something like, I really struggled to get through the first half because there wasn't enough action, like I can do something with that. That's how I always try to leave book reviews. If I don't like it, I want to leave like why and what I would have done. And sometimes it's personal preference, but still, this character didn't work for me because I found them annoying. That might be helpful, or they may never see it. Who knows?
Yeah. But maybe that character's annoying on purpose, though.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
might And it might work for everybody else, but
Mhm.
I definitely took from there is too much backstory and it's taking too long to get to the murder to heart. And I think it has improved the books as we go.
Now, why do you think when it comes to horror films and books, why do you think the audience cares less about character development, more about and backstory, and now they're just thrusting, I want as much gore and action as soon as possible?
Yeah. I mean, I think horror is expecting a certain pace, right? And I think it's the expectation set by the genre. Like we want murder in the first 5 minutes to set to tell us what we're expecting. That being said, I've definitely read and watched horror that does not follow that, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
But I do agree that a lot of people are like, well, it's horror. There should, I mean, the adage in the genre is blood on the first page.
See, I'm completely different. Maybe because since I'm in my 40s now, I like. I said this a lot of times. I like character development in my reading and watching horror. I like to care about the characters. So when the murders do happen, I have some type of feeling. Would it be, yes, I'm glad the asshole got it, or wow, I really like them, and that sucked.
Yeah. I think I've cheated my way around it in multiple books by opening with blood and then being like, and let's step back and work our way back up to it. So I'm like, here's what's coming, but now we're going to develop the characters and make sure you care.
Now, are you one of some authors? They have a ending in mind, and they work their ways backward. Do you have to work your ways towards the ending, or do you have an ending already in mind?
I'm all over the place. I kind of straddle between being a plotter and a pantser. So
Mhm.
until I wrote a novel, we were always just winging it. Like I had a concept and we're going to see where it goes. But once it got longer than a short story, that got real messy real fast. So I had to start plotting. So usually if I have like a book concept, I have a couple of scenes and the end, and then I need to make a map to get myself around. Otherwise, we'll get lost in a plot hole somewhere and have to start over.
But during this process, does the ending ever change?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I tend to do endings that may make the readers mad. So with one of those, I'm like, oh yeah, no, we're keeping this. But sometimes they do change. Like I have one that I'm working on right now. I have no idea what the ending is. No idea. I don't even know how we're going to get to where I don't know where we're going. But I have a solid concept and some characters, but that's it.
Because I can imagine, like I envy writers because I wish I could like be a horror writer, and because I mean you're putting something on. I feel like it's easier to make a film because you're giving people a visual, so you don't have to answer a lot of questions. As a writer, you have to build that visual in people's brains and what that character looks like, what that smells like, what's happening. And I envy that because it takes so much to do that. And the good writers, I can read a book and I can be reading and I can smell and just visualize what a rotten corpse smells like and looks like.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, there's an art to it and finding the right balance between enough description to put you there, but not so much to put you to sleep and
Yes.
keep things moving. I always marvel at the authors who can have a super large cast of characters and make them all real people that I care about. I tend to do a smaller cast of characters because that's all I can keep straight in my head.
Now, in your books, do you kill off people that you know? When I ask that question, are some of your characters are people that you actually know or came across in your life, and you're like, okay, I'm going to base this character specifically off this person,
Oh,
and
100%. I have a book. Okay. So my book, The Rest Will Come, is about online dating. I met my husband when I was a teenager. I never online dated, but a lot of people I know did, and it went terribly.
it's
And so
horrible.
one night we all got together. I provided some drinks and I was like, tell me your worst stories. Like, what were your worst online dating experiences? I took extensive notes and the book is me killing literally all of these guys.
See, I love that because listen, I did online dating in the past. I would never ever do online dating again. Even if I became single, I wouldn't do online dating again. It's horrific. Even as a man, it's horrific because it seems like all of the damaged people are on online dating.
Yeah, yeah. There's some doozies in the book. Some of them had it coming.
So now, have you always been a horror fan? Have you, or is this something that you just jumped into?
Horror for me started very young. When I was a child, I used to have like nightmares all the time. And something about that made me always gravitate towards like spooky stuff, Halloween, and then there were Goosebumps, and then there was Stephen King, and then it just snowballed out of control. I had a friend in high school who was deep into like Argento and French horror and showed me a whole bunch of unspeakable things, and now we're here.
And you bring up nightmares. I have vivid nightmares, and I don't have good dreams. Most of mine are like seem like a horror movie. And
Mm-hmm.
and I always think to myself, boy, if I was a horror creator, I would immediately write these down because they go by fast, you forget about them. But like, so do your nightmares bring about some of your stories?
Absolutely, especially my shorts, because the nightmare not might not be a whole narrative,
Hmm.
but it definitely gets captured in the shorts. A lot of the postpartum stuff that I've written was nightmares from after I had my kids. A lot of the body horror. I did a short after I had hip surgery and had some anesthesia nightmares. So yeah, I think better out than in. If I put them on the page, they tend to leave my brain.
Now, is there a story out there that you've written down that you were like, this is so fucked up that the world is not for this. I can't put this out.
Well, I did put it out, but yes, I
Okay.
actually absolutely have. Definitely my postpartum ones, my ones about babies and children. Those were like, oof, did that come out of me? That's terrifying. But then of course I published it. Um, but yeah, as a parent, that's what's the most scary to me. So that's what I wrote about.
Yeah, I can imagine as a parent that is, losing a child or something bad happening to a child is terrifying.
Yeah, I wrote a postpartum psychosis one where the mom kind of snapped, and it's because I was postpartum and terrified of hurting my poor baby, and so that's what I wrote about.
And it happens all the time, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think you realize how close it is until you're like there, because you're like, who would ever shake a baby? And then after no sleep for 6 days and something keeps biting you, you're like, this is who would shake a baby, me. But thankfully, I just wrote about it instead.
Yes. Thank God. Thank God. Now, as an author, indie horror author, where do you see the indie horror writing realm going in the next 5 years? Do you think it's going to continue getting oversaturated, and at some point there's going to be a breaking point where there's going to be more gatekeepers, or do you think it's just going to keep
I
spiraling?
think I think it will really depend on how we continue to adopt AI and what we consider acceptable as a culture. Um, I think that'll have a lot of influence. If you see the larger publishing houses start to adopt AI practices, I think you're going to see a surge in indie creators doing not that. If we don't, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some kind of breaking point where there's just too much, but I
Yeah.
don't know that we'd readopt having people control it after we've opened the gates. Like, can you really shut them again?
Because I mean, everybody is doing Amazon. I mean, not everybody. A lot of people are doing Amazon self-publishing, and and some authors are doing great at it. But like some of the stuff that I've read, because I have the Kindle Unlimited, so I read stuff on there quite often, and I'm like, wow, someone there was no editing. Boy, this story is all over the fucking place. Is the grammar is incoherent, and I'm like, wow. like this just gets approved. Like there's no one to say, okay, we'll work on this, fix this. It just gets accepted. It just goes through.
Yeah, it's that double-edged sword because with no gatekeepers, you get people who previously wouldn't have been given the opportunity to publish or
Hmm.
didn't fit the right mold or weren't marketable enough. But at the same time, you get people who maybe don't have a full grasp on what all one should do to publish a book, including like grammar and story construction. So like it's hard. How can you have one without the other? Like if we go back to the gatekeepers, they're keeping out quality stuff that we may love, but if we open the gates, we're getting everything.
Everything. 'Cause I'm also seeing it in indie horror films where, Tubi and a lot of these free sites they're accepting pretty much anything. And now you have to go through, in order to find one good movie, you have to go through 20 to 100 bad ones just so you find a good one.
Oh man, I'm part of this group called Midnight Monster Club, and they're doing a film festival, and I'm kind of admin curating, proofing the films or whatever. Oh man, I have watched hundreds of shorts, and it's a short list on which ones I would choose to watch again. Some of them are just AI madness where I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. And some of them are very conceptually confusing. I mean, it's all over the place because it's open to everything. But I guess I'm the gatekeeper in this scenario.
And it's so tough because, like, even on my channel, I do movie reviews. Like, filmmakers will send me, or I'll just go and do Tubi Tuesday where I just randomly pick a movie and I review it. And I run into more on. I'm not even saying I don't even comment on bad movies or low budget movies. I comment on unwatchable movies, and there are so many movies that are absolutely unwatchable. And there's a lot of self-published books out there that are unreadable. They're absolutely unreadable. And
I guess
because especially with the books, like you feel like you missed something. Like you're reading chapters in and you feel like you missed something. And you're like, no, I didn't miss something. The author left something out, like, or didn't explain anything. And I guess they assumed that the reader was going to pick up on it because the reader thinks like them or something. And it's just big chunks that are missing, and you're like, let me reread it, but like they're unreadable.
yeah, most of the unreadable ones I've come across, I'm like, this needed beta readers
Yeah.
or an editor. Like I get where the concept is, but
Hmm.
someone needed to tell you there were pieces missing because when the story lives in your head, it's impossible to tell that you didn't put everything on the page, right? Like when I write something, I have to put it away long enough to forget about it in order to see any plot holes. Otherwise, the answers are in my head, so obviously I know them, but you kind of have to have those outside perspectives to be like, hey, you never explained how the hell we got to the mountains. Why are we in the mountains? In my head, we were in the car and we got there, but apparently I forgot to write it. So you have to
Yeah.
have that outside perspective. And I think that's the gap with a lot of the self-published stuff is if you are it's like when a film director is also the editor, like, no,
No.
more people. You need more. This is a group effort.
Yes.
Other people have to have opinions because I go to a lot of film festivals and when it's like director, writer, editor, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's like someone else had to tell you that this was not working.
Because I just interviewed a writer, and he works with directors, and he writes the script, and he writes the screenplay, and somebody directs it, and they collaborate and they bounce off each other and for their visions. And I'm like, why don't more filmmakers do that? Because especially in the indie, most filmmakers, like you said, they're the director, they're the producer, they're the writer, they're the editor. They're also acting in the damn movie. Like, so
just just get an editor. If nothing else, just an editor as a different person. Like just that
yeah,
one.
just one thing. I mean, you can't do it all. You really
Yeah.
can't.
Someone
You
has to
can't.
tell you this scene is too long or this
Yeah.
transition didn't make any sense. I probably use 10 beta readers per book. That's before it even goes to an editor. And they always are like, what the hell happened here? And I'm like, I don't know. I should probably answer that question.
Is it tough as a writer though to have a beta reader say, "Hey, this doesn't flow well"? I mean, at the end of the day, it's your piece of work, it's your baby. Is it tough to get that advice and feel like, "Wow, I might have to change this"?
I think it's been long enough in my career that I'm like, give it to me. Like, don't let me submit this and look like an asshole. Tell me now that this doesn't make any sense. And like, I have a critique group and I have beta readers, and I'm like, okay, help me not sound stupid. But sometimes they'll be like, so my critique group is a mix of genres. And so the other horror writer and I are always like right here. But the fantasy writer is like, that's dumb. Why would they do that? I'm like, because it's horror, and if they're not dumb, nobody dies. Like it's necessary. So sometimes you'll butt into feedback where you're like, no, this is how it is because it's mine.
I agree. You do gotta have those dumb mistakes in for horror. You really do.
Yeah.
Now,
If everyone was smart, no horror would happen. Like,
exactly. And I'm curious what a smart horror film would look like.
I think we've seen some, like you get Your Next, where the final girl is like a survivalist and like she knows something's up, and it still happens anyways because there are other dumb people at play.
Yes.
But if everyone had great instincts and reacted perfectly, like, something creepy would happen, you would leave and that would be the end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And
That is 100% true.
I think people overestimate themselves in a scary situation because we might all be dumb if we're scared enough.
We might be. See, but I think so. I'm a very cautious person because I'm gonna watch horror movies ever since I was like 5 years old. Plus, I also work in the funeral industry, so I've seen people die in every possible way possible over the last 20 some years. So I'm overly cautious, and I don't trust a lot of people in real life, and I don't trust. I'm like, oh, this seems like a horror movie. Like I would never pick up a hitchhiker or anything crazy like that because horror movies have taught me. I don't even like doing camping, like I'm not because of horror movies.
Too
So
much Friday the 13th.
yeah, it's because and I'm the black guy, so I'm definitely going to die first. So like I just don't. There's certain things that I don't do in my life because horror movies have told me not to. Like I literally saw a couple weeks ago two hippie a hippie couple that looked absolutely bonkers crazy, and they were hitchhiking at a gas station and say, "Hey, can we get a ride?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm going head to work." And then I seen these young white guys like, "Yeah, hop on in," and I'm looking like, "Oh my god, he's going to get murdered." I'm like, "How are you that trusting of some complete strangers to just put me in your car?"
See, that's how the horror movies happen.
Yes,
Someone has to
100%.
be, otherwise we get no movie.
Yes, exactly. All right, Christina, where can everyone find you and your work?
All of my books are available on Amazon or from their respective publishers. This is the new one.
Love
This
that
is
cover.
the cover's my favorite. I even have an alternate cover on the back.
Nice. And that is
This
not AI.
No, it is not. I interacted with the human who made it.
Yes.
That one's from Graveside Press. My website is just my name, ChristinaBergling.com, as are most of my socials.
Awesome. Listen, everyone, get over to Amazon and grab your copy of Red Walls. Christina, it's been a blast having you on.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. Listen, everyone, thank you for coming to once again to Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. We'll see you next time. Take care.